Hello my dear students, how are you today? I hope you are fine and I hope you enjoy my session for today. We are still in Unit 3, Festivals and Special Days. Okay, Festivals and Special Days. But today we are going to focus on the grammar section. Be sure that you are using your student's book, pages from 11 to 15. Let's start. I'll start my grammar lesson for today using those two examples. Okay, the first one, Miss Manal took Brain's book. The second one, Brain's book was taken by Miss Manal. As you see here, I think if you read them carefully, you will find that they are very close in meaning, but only we have a little bit change in between the two sentences. First, let's define the parts of the first sentence. The doer, which is the subject, Miss Manal, and then the verb, and later comes the receiver, which is the object. The second one, Brain's book, which was the receiver, now it became the subject, and then the doer comes to the end of the sentence, which became the object. My question here is, what happened to the first sentence in order to have the second one? Here we have a definite process which is called the passive voice. So if we need to change in between the receiver and the doer to form such sentence, it is called the passive voice. Okay, the first point is when to use the passive voice. Okay, and the second one, if we agreed that we are going to use the passive voice, we need to know about the structure of the verbs according to the present simple and the past simple. Okay, the passive voice can be formed from all the tenses, but our main target for today is the present simple and the past simple. Let's check the first point. I think we have three main reasons to use the passive voice. The first one, if we need to focus on the receiver of the action, okay, we can use the passive. The second one, when it is not necessary to mention the doer of an action, so use the passive. The third point is when the doer of an action is not known. So those are the three main reasons to form the passive or to use the passive voice. In my next slides, I'm going to show you some examples regarding those reasons. When we need to focus on the receiver of an action, as the following example, look, a mermaid is found by the fisherman. Here you need to attract the reader, okay, attention, and let him focus on the word mermaid. So the question, what is the main message of the sentence? The main message of the sentence is the emphasis is on the mermaid. We start the sentence with a mermaid to attract the reader's attention to the receiver of the action. Good, let's move to number 2. When it's not necessary to mention the doer of an action, it is already known or it's well known, okay? Like the following example, I was born in August. Here was born, it's a passive form or a passive voice. So is it necessary to mention who gave birth to you? I think not, because who else would it be if not your mom? Okay, did you get the idea? So if the doer is well known, use the passive. Here the last one, when the doer of an action is not known, so by logic just use the passive. Here the example, Miss Sarah's diamond ring was stolen. Here in this sentence we don't know who stole the ring, so when we need to talk about the situation or just write a sentence regarding the situation, use the passive. We don't know who stole the diamond ring. For more clarification, I have here the explanation. The doer is not known. Instead of starting the sentence with somebody, like when we say somebody stole Miss Sarah's diamond ring, so we can omit the doer, and the omit here means to remove or delete. the doer of the action. And we form our sentence like this: Miss Sarah's diamond ring, okay, was stolen. We start like this. Okay, good. Now let's move to the main target of the unit, which is to form the passive, okay, voice using the present simple or using the past simple. Here the structure of the passive verbs. In the active form, in the present simple, we use the verb in the infinitive, like eats or eat. Okay, this is the verb in the infinitive for the present simple. And the passive should be formed like this: is eaten or are eaten. The verb to be plus the past participle of the verb. Here, a very important note, which is verb to be is common in passive voice, and it is changed according to the tense of the sentence or the number, of course, you know, singular and plural, of the subject of the sentence. This is for the present simple. And here, more clarification for this: present simple, the word eats is eaten in the passive. Okay, examples: in the active, the gardener waters the flowers every evening. The word water here as a verb, it means to put some water, and here waters, it is in the present simple. So the passive voice will be like this: the flowers are watered by the gardener every evening. And if you can see here or observe that, or the prepositional phrase here, which is by the gardener every evening, I put underline. You know why? Because it's optional if you want to put the doer at the end of the sentence or not. It's up to you, unless he asked you to put it. The other example: Helen doesn't drink coffee in parties. Coffee isn't drunk. Pay attention that you are giving the same meaning. So if the sentence is in the negative form, just form your passive in the negative form. Coffee isn't drunk by Helen in parties. Last one: who sells umbrellas? As you see, it's in the form of interrogative. So when you form the passive, put it in the interrogative form. Who are umbrellas sold by? I hope that it became clear now for you how to form the sentences, which is in the present simple, to the passive, okay, voice in the present simple also. Let's move to the second one: past tenses. In the past tenses, we focus on the past simple. As I told you, this is our main target. We are using the second shape of the verb while using the past simple. Do you remember eat, and then the second form ate, and then the third shape is eaten? But be careful, as I told you, that we are going to change the verb to be here from is or are to was or were. Okay, because I told you it's common to use the verb to be in the passive voice. And here also I have some examples for you to clarify the idea of converting from active to passive. The teacher corrected the mistakes. Here the mistakes were corrected by the teacher. Okay, so the mistakes here, it is in the plural form. So when you use the verb to be sure that you are using the correct form of verb to be, which matches with the singular or the plural subject. And here also by the teacher, the prepositional phrase, it's optional to use or not unless he asked you to put. Did the little boy sell all the candy bars? So it's a question. You should put your passive sentence or question in the same form of the active. So were all the candy bars sold by the little boy? Last one here, he didn't give the wallet. So the wallet wasn't given. It is in the past, okay, but it is in the negative form. So put your passive in the negative form. I hope now that you got full idea about how to convert from the active to the passive according to the past simple and the present simple. Okay, but before we practice on what we have learned, I need just to show you the grammar box from your student book, which talks about the same thing we have done, the present and past simple and passive. Here the usage, we use the passive when we don't know the subject of a sentence or when the action is more important than the subject, as I told you. Okay, the form of the present simple passive is using am, is, are, or not in the negative form with the past participle, which is the third shape of the verb. Okay, in Bosnia, the people cook eggs and make buns. This is the active. And then when we need to convert it to the passive in Bosnia, eggs are cooked in big pan. The form of the past simple passive use was or were and not if it in the negative form. To make yes or no questions, you have to use am, is, are, was, or were at the beginning of the question, and then be sure that you are using the past participle. Like, are special foods eaten at festival? Yes, they are. This toy is fantastic. Was it made in Egypt? Yes, it was. Okay. In the interrogative form, we use the verb to be after the question word, like why is fish sometimes kept in special freezers? How was fish cooked in the past? Okay, this was the grammar box from your student book. Okay, I hope that we cover all the items needed to practice and needed to answer the following exercise. Rewrite the following sentence using words in brackets. The janitor cleans our classroom every day. Okay. Number 2. Japan exported millions of cars last year. Number 3. Who invented the telephone? Okay, so number 1. The janitor cleans. Janitor is the office boy or the worker of the office. Okay, this is the meaning of the word janitor. The janitor cleans. Cleans here is in the present simple, and he asks you to put the word clean. Of course, he's not asking you to put the sentence in the past, but the word cleaned here is the past participle form from cleans. So he asks you to put this sentence in the passive. Our classroom is cleaned every day. If you want to put by the janitor, it's optional, as I told you, unless he asked you to put the word by. Japan exported millions of cars last year. Use were. So millions of cars were exported from Japan last year. The last one, who invented the telephone? You have to insist using the interrogative form even it is passive. So he asks here to put the word by. Who was the telephone invented by? Okay, this is for the rewrite exercise that you are going to find them in your exam paper. Let's move to other type of questions, which is MCQ. Okay, let's move. Choose the correct answer. As usual, I told you before, or I asked you before, to just pause the video and put your own answers on a piece of paper, and then you can justify your answers with me. This email 2 weeks ago. Ago here represents or refers to the past simple, so you have to put the right form of the verb, okay, in the past simple. This email, I think that email is a thing, it cannot do the action. So the right thing is to use the passive, but in the past. Was sent. When the earthquake happened, be sure that you are reading the sentence in the correct way. Why? Because here the verb happen, okay, it doesn't come in the passive form. So this question is very normal, and we are not going to use the passive here. So when did the earthquake happen? Let's move to number 3. All the efforts to increase our products every year. Here we are talking about things, efforts. Efforts here means the things or the favors we are doing to do something. So every year refers to the present simple, okay, but we need to put the form in the passive, so it will be are made. Let's move to number 4. The trees in the garden daily. This sentence is very tricky because he is talking about the trees and then he put the word garden as a singular here, so some students will be confused if they are going to use the passive form here with the plural or singular verb to be. But if you read it carefully, you will find the answer. The trees are in the garden, so he is talking about the trees. Daily. Daily refers to the present simple, so it will be are watered. Okay, good. So you will find such questions in your exam paper. Okay, you need just to revise the lesson again one more time, okay, and have more practice, which you will find a lot of them on our LMS, okay, if you visit the site. See you next time inshallah in the other session of unit 4. Bye.